we defeated the government army and we took power. I was elected as Prime Minister at that time. I was arrested and then sentenced to 18 years. Prison there is very bad. It's really bad. I was alone. The prison was dark. I mean, dark in the sense of the darkness of life. In the middle of the night, I woke up. Suddenly, I woke up. My room was lit with a bright light, very brilliant one. There was a figure, a dazzling white, golden white one. He said, "I am Jesus."
Well, you're in for a treat today because we have former Prime Minister Tamrat Layne. Would you give him a hand, please? Welcome to the life. You're going to love this brother.
Thank you.
And his beautiful wife. Would you stand up, please? Say hello to the First Lady. How long have the two of you been married?
26 years.
26 years. Isn't that amazing? And you have two children.
19 and 15.
19 and 15. So may God help you.
Thank you.
Two teenagers. Of your 26 years, how many of those years have you been apart?
12 years.
12 years.
Because of my imprisonment.
Because of your imprisonment. Talk about your childhood. You were born in what city?
In the capital of Ethiopia, it's called Addis Ababa.
And you became politically aware when you were how old?
17 years
17?
old. I started becoming involved in some kind of student movement.
Student movement. And you were a communist?
At the age of 19, I became
19.
communist.
Are you an atheist?
Yeah.
So we may have some atheists here today, some watching online who are part of this. Talk about how you got to, were you born in a home where atheism was taught?
No, I became atheist and a communist by way of studying the ideology of communism.
Reading books?
Reading books, studying in groups. I thought that was a way to bring about freedom and justice and well-being for the poor.
What's going on in Ethiopia at the time that communism took root?
There was turmoil all over the nation, and poverty was rampant over the country. And the communism at that time was saying about the well-being of the poor, yeah. how to address the poor, yeah. And justice and democracy. So it appealed to us, the youngsters at that time, and all young people, students and all, wanted to study, to know about communism. That was why.
And this thing caught fire. You were one of the leaders. It starts with 5 people. By the time you become prime minister, the movement you started had how many people in it?
Well, after a few years, we had to go to the mountains to keep on struggle. And we started building an army, a rebel army in the mountains. And I stayed there for 15 years. Within those 15 years, we built more than 150,000.
I want you to think about
army.
that. That's as, about half the people in Tacoma, right? I mean, that's a lot of people. And did you think of yourself as a revolutionary?
Yes, I thought, right at that time, I thought I was a revolutionary, and we were saying we are revolutionaries. Revolutionaries of the armed struggle. We had a slogan called, "Freedom comes out of the barrel of a gun."
Freedom comes out of the barrel of a gun. So you knew, I mean, you were soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I thought it was interesting. You said last night that the only time before you prayed, you were 47 years old when you prayed your first prayer, but the only other time you were on your knees was when you were shooting.
When I was shooting in the mountains, when I was fighting.
Yeah.
Not on prayers.
So you become prime minister in what year?
1991.
You lead this revolt against the government.
Mm-hmm. And in 1991, we defeated the government army, and we took power.
Who's we? You had a handful of friends?
My friends, me and my friends together, leading about 150,000 soldiers.
And these friends are people that you've fought with, lived with. I mean, you're close.
Yes. We lived for 15 years together.
And you were in power for how long?
For 5 years. I was in power for 5 years. And then after the 5th year, I was thrown to jail because of some views and conflicts.
Yeah.
And this is in 1996.
1996.
I was imprisoned. And the first year of my prison time was very, very tough, very difficult, because I couldn't accept that I was imprisoned.
Yeah.
And I tried to even commit suicide several times. I couldn't. And then after the first year, I accepted that I am in prison. So I started searching for a new path, a new way, a new truth, a new life. Because I was, the past was already lost.
Yeah.
And by that time, I was not in communism, and I started not, trusting it. I said it's not working. Already when I was prime minister, I started saying this communism is not working, and I dropped it. And I was still an atheist when I was in prison. And then, for 5 years of my prison time, I started searching for a new thing. Yeah. And by way of reading, I studied different religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, and finally for 2 years I studied Islam.
Reading the Quran.
Reading the Quran and other books from Muslim scholars.
And as you're going through their texts and reading those books, do you get more desperate as time goes on because you say, okay, it's not in Hinduism, it's not in? Are you getting more frustrated, or just describe your heart at that point?
Mixed both things, more frustrated, but also more in search. In search and questing for new thing to come. And of course, I found many things from these studies, but my soul was not satisfied with all those things. Right. So I continued. And I tried by myself, by my own strength, all 5 years.
And we talk a lot here, Mr. Prime Minister, about the power of invitation. That I became a Jesus person because somebody invited me to this church. And how many of you were invited by a friend? One person, look at all, okay? So we know the power of invitation. And it was one simple gesture from somebody you didn't know that exposed you to the name of Jesus. Talk about how that happened.
After my 5th year of desperate search for new thing for life, I was sick and I had to go to a hospital. I was taken to a hospital as a prisoner, of course. And in the hospital, after a few days, the nurse who was treating me, she brought me and gave me a small paper, a tiny paper, a tract. And in that paper, what was written was about Jesus and his love, and the fact that he gave his life for us. And it was also written from the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 6, which says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I said, the way, the truth, and the life. And that struck my mind.
Yeah.
And at the end of the paper, it says, Jesus is the only one who can give you a new life.
And you had been looking for a new
That
life.
was the thing that I was looking for 5 years. And I was searching it. I was trying it by myself to get it. And now that paper says, the name called Jesus is giving you a new life. There is no one else. And I became curious enough. Not only that, but I was really immersed into this thing, thinking about it, and I was obsessed by it, and almost the whole day. And at one point, I found myself praying, my knees on the floor, and I stretched my hand, and I read that paper, and I say, okay, the one you claim to be Jesus and who claim to give a new life, if you are real, that's what I am searching for. And if that is true, then come to me and show me.
This is the first prayer you've ever prayed. You
Ever
didn't even
prayed? I didn't even know about any prayer because I didn't believe before that in any kind of supernatural force, including God, Jesus, and all that. I was an atheist,
So
and
you-
I was a hardcore atheist.
Yeah. You cry out to God and say, if you're real, show up. I want you to talk about what happened that night. What happened when you began to pray that prayer?
The whole day I prayed that way, almost, and in the night, after I went to bed, in the middle of the night I woke up. And when I woke up, the room is already in light, lit with light in it, and it's a beautiful kind of light, powerful but beautiful, with different colors in the light.
Did you think you were dreaming?
I was wide, awake, and but that was, for me, that was something different that I had no experience before that, and I sat on my bed, following what's going to happen, and right in front of me, from one corner of the wall, another light came up, just like that. Now imagine. That light is within the light.
A light within a light.
And from the second light, a person came up and stood by in front of me.
Could you see face? Could you see?
It's a figure. I couldn't see the things in his head, the eyes, this thing, but because it's so powerful that I couldn't stare at that. But it was so obvious that for me that it's a person just standing there in front of me with a white golden robe. And it was also, it looks like it was made of light. And after a while he said, I am Jesus.
I am Jesus.
Believe in me and follow me. If you believe in me and follow me, I will give you the life that you were searching for.
Yeah, wow, how about that? Now, some of you here, I know that there are a lot of skeptics in this community, and you were one of them. I mean, this town is full of skeptics.
I was the chief of skeptics.
To the point that, get this now, you didn't even believe, it's not like you followed Jesus immediately when that happened.
No, I didn't.
How hardcore is that, right?
I didn't, and I was certain that I saw something, but I was not sure that it was real. And I had to prove it, because my whole life before that went through experimenting and experiencing and proving, not by believing. So
Right.
I didn't say okay that night.
You didn't even, up until that point, you didn't even believe in the supernatural.
No. I was simply searching for anything truth, but not as yet of